Hey guys, Krevin here and back with you for another great clan lore video. Our last one was with Clan Scryer, but today we are going to be looking at Clan Moulder, the breeders and pack masters of the Skaven. Unlike Clan Scryer, they are not based out of Skavenblight, though they do have a precinct there. They are primarily based out of their fortress in the Hell Pit near Troll Country and the Chaos Wastes. So let's look at what their leadership is, what different roles they have in society compared to the other vermin clans, and what they bring to Skavendom as a whole, which makes them so powerful and influential a clan in the Skaven underworld. So Clan Moulder grew to power basically on the back of their slave population. They have slave warpers, which use the power of warpstone to breed mutant fighting beasts from their slave stock. Surgery is also used to create still more heinous forms of monsters. Their methods are unknown, for they jealously guard the secrets that have given them such power. Rat ogres, tracker rats, and wolf rats are among the most well-known of their monsters. The clan's most successful creation, however, has to be the rat ogre. These monstrous creatures have been the source of much of the clan's power, as Greyseers, warlords, and many other important Skaven figures will pay exorbitant amounts of warp tokens to obtain a rat ogre bodyguard, and we'll go into that a little bit later in the video as we go over what units these guys bring to the table. Clan Moulder has few Skaven warriors compared to most other clans, especially Clan Rictus, and rely heavily on packs of its mutant beasts which it sends into battle. These are driven by pack masters, experts at the lash and at goading their charges into combat against enemies. Clan Moulder armies are typically led by master Moulders, and then field clan rats as well as Skaven slaves as the bulk of their troops, such as other Skaven clans. But the army also includes masses of their experimental monsters, such as the rat ogres, which we mentioned before, also giant rats. These fighting beasts are also sold to other Skaven clans for the highest price, and they're sold indiscriminately on both sides of any conflict in Skavendom. It's very important, if you are a clan warlord, that when you're fighting against a clan that might have, say, Clan Moulder's backing, you get another great clan's backing to have a similar advantage, in which case Clan Moulder's probably going to be the cheapest one's support to get, much cheaper than Clan Scryer, for instance. It's been said that each of Clan Moulder's biological horrors is created with a built-in failsafe that actually prevents them from harming members of their parent clan. In addition, such creatures obey the pack masters and their master Moulders pretty much without question, at least amongst the rat ogres for sure, making them dangerous investments for anyone who wishes to purchase one. And should a customer become an enemy, he had best keep his attention focused on any Moulder-made pets that he keeps. The mission of the Moulders is pretty simple. It's to create, via surgery, breeding, or mutation, the most effective biological killing machines imaginable. These beasts not only swell the ranks of Clan Moulder's armies, but also are sold, as we've discussed earlier. So, Clan Moulder's makeup, in addition to the Skaven slaves and the clan rats, which are the majority of the clan, also have the unique roles in pack masters. So pack masters are the trainers and handlers of Clan Moulder's various war beasts and hulking monstrosities. These specially trained Skaven are experts at goading their charges, ferocious half-mad creatures who can turn and attack with no warning. For this reason, pack masters are themselves cagey and fierce warriors, or if they are not, they quickly end up as another meal for their merciless packs. It's common practice for Clan Moulder to sell both beast packs and pack master handlers together to the highest bidder. Packmasters will also roam the wastes of the Troll Country and Chaos Wastes, and even down into Kislev and the Empire south of Hell Pit, in search of greater monsters such as manticores, with which they can capture and then use to breed ever greater, more ferocious war beasts, so it isn't solely their Skaven slaves that they use. Moulders take the task of overseeing different genetic manipulations and surgeries and the like to create new, more horrendous monstrosities that Clan Moulder can field. Master Moulders are basically the same thing, just set over larger projects, and are able to kick around and beat up the regular Moulders and Packmasters. They also tend to be the generals that lead Moulder's armies on the battlefield. And then of course we come to the clan leader. That would be Lord Verminkin, who is the pack lord of Clan Moulder and sits at the second tier of seats, just below the 12th and the first, which is held by Lord Critislick, the Seer Lord, and Lord Morskatar, who's the Lord Warlock of Clan Scryer. Clan Moulder also provides some serious benefits for the council, aside from their rat ogres, which are used by every member of the council as a trusted bodyguard. Or I shouldn't say trusted necessarily, as the bodyguard is just too stupid to do any backstabbing, because rat ogres have absolutely no brain whatsoever. But they also, the Moulder clan, is very adept at healing. With the aid of warpstone salves, any wound can be healed and any body can be improved in a way. The oldest members of the Council of 13 have survived to their extreme ages, it is thought, through liberal application of Clan Moulder's alchemy. And if it creates a few mutations, such as an extra arm, hey, that's all in the package and it's worth it in the end, right? The Fane breeding grounds and surgical pits and mutation labs of Clan Moulder are located in the north, burrowed into the walls and floor of a ragged chasm in a snowy mountainside on the northern spur of the World's Edge Mountains, right by Troll Country. Volcanic pools at the bottom of the ravine raise a grayish plume of noxious steam, and the foul stench is legendary. But worst is the dreadful cacophony of howls, screams, and snarls, shrieks that clamor out of the frozen chasm. Not without good reason is this place known as Hell Pit. The great labyrinthine tunnels of Hell Pit spiral in 9 expansive circles, just like the circles of hell. Wonder where they got that. Each worming and twisting like a great intestinal tract, overburdened with numbers of preposterous proportions, and each full of mutated beasts. To perpetuate their crossbeating, flesh-bonding crimes against nature, Clan Moulder requires constantly toiling slaves and captured creatures in staggering multitudes. The great circles of Hell Pit are riddled with laboratories, breeding pits, flesh distilleries, arenas, and skin forges that allow Clan Moulder to continue seeking new, more stable beasts to sell or rent out to other clans. They're right by the Chaos Wastes, and it's pretty barren around there, but the Packmasters do scour the lands up north for dangerous beasts to capture, kind of as we talked about earlier, as well as picking up any warpstone meteorites that might fall in the Chaos Wastes. These beasts that they capture often offer the best chance to extract enhancements for existing creatures, or to even create a new kind of beast, aside from the Skaven slaves, which are kind of run-of-the-mill experimental fodder, if you will. They'll often pull in manticores, hydras, and chimeras, waiting for days for an opening to strike at these dangerous creatures. They are led back to Hell Pit in cages. If the toxic fumes don't put off an enemy's approach to Hell Pit, then perhaps the twisted death throes of failed experiments will. These shambling, still mutating beasts are ejected from the warrens to spend their last miserable days howling in agony amidst the barren rocks, attacking anything they happen to sense. Despite such defenses, Hell Pit is actually regularly attacked. Every few generations, a boastful, overreaching champion of chaos of the savage tribes attempts to conquer the sprawling stronghold. Warriors of Chaos may be individually mighty, but if the assaults are foolish, daring to assail the overwhelming numbers housed under the steaming vents of Hell Pit, merciless death awaits the lucky. Thus far, there's only been one assault on Hell Pit that's actually gained any headway, and it was during the Great War against Chaos. Warrior tribes and war herds of the Beastmen allied in an attempt to raise Clan Moulder's capital, which is actually pretty crazy because Beastmen, warrior tribes, actually allying, that's insane. The Chaos armies forced their way inside the warrens, laying waste to the first 3 circles of the 9 in a blaze of blood and ruin. The minions of the Dark Gods were halted as innumerable giant rats were driven forward by Packmasters to bog down the foe. The invaders were eventually surrounded and wiped out when Throt the Unclean led an entire army of rabid rat ogres, many of them especially augmented, to completely clear out the tunnels and warrens. Some of the rat ogres, and we'll get into this a little bit later, have actually been augmented by Clan Scryer, having different gadgets and whatnot infused into their flesh to make them tougher, stronger, often augmenting them with rattling guns and such at the ends of their arms where hands would normally be. But we mentioned Throt the Unclean, and he's one of the most powerful and influential members of Clan Moulder, sort of a patriarch of the clan. And like many of his brothers, he has basically been using warpstone for a very long time to mutate different beasts, and as such, spines have grown from his back. He has gained an extra arm, and warp magic courses through his body, kind of just like his blood does, which has unnaturally extended his life. Now one of the oldest members of Clan Moulder, many generations of Skaven have actually come from him, which is where he gets the patriarch of the clan. Not only did Throt's life get extended by his overexposure to warpstone, but he has also gained great strength and can pin even the most ferocious rat ogre to the ground with his creature killer. The drawback of this is that he has a constant need to eat, lest the warpstone magic fueling his body and his regenerative abilities ultimately destroy him. Throt's clothes are usually filled with small animals, therefore, as foodstuffs to randomly sate his incredible hunger. Don't worry, sometimes they are even dead. In addition to his third arm, in a struggle with another packmaster, he actually lost his eye, which was replaced with a crude piece of warpstone hammered into his skull to feed power directly to his brain, making him look even weirder, which is actually completely insane because if you know anything about warpstone, it's basically solidified chaos. It's the ultimate magical substance, and it just fuels tons of mutations and whatnot. The Skaven are, comparatively to other races, it enacts its effects on them fairly slowly, so they don't instantly mutate and warp. But if it was a human, they basically turn into a gob of weird fleshy mutations instantly if it was to touch them. So let's start talking about some of the iconic units that Clan Moulder fields, and we have to start at the bottom, which is giant rats. They're the most common and cheapest that Clan Moulder has to offer. These creatures might at a distance look like normal rats, but on closer inspection, they have a variety of mutations, a staple of Clan Moulder expertise. Long ago, these master moulders have long unlocked the secrets of breeding, mutating, and surgically augmenting the common rat into a fearsome beast. They stand larger than the average dog. These rats had a variety of features that only increase the effectiveness in combat. Such things include extra heads, oversized incisors or claws, spiked tails, and even strong bony plate armor. The far more mutated ones have even exposed ribs, massive boils, and even skinless flesh. Pretty daggone disgusting, kind of like warhounds or chaos hounds. That's how they function, except for they probably instill fear and whatnot in their enemy. They're absolutely crazy, but very cheap, don't have a long life expectancy in combat. Now we come to what might be considered the most iconic Clan Moulder unit, but is definitely the most widely used without question, and that is the Rat Ogre. These are very large, about twice the size of men, and they have enough strength and muscle to fight a whole company of soldiers. The ordinary rat ogre is a Skaven to a human as a rat ogre is to an ogre. Rat ogres are usually covered with stitches, as many times Clan Moulder masters have added modifications, let's say, to their already formidable bulk, either adding large saw-like blades, weapon attachments, and even an extra arm to those few Skaven warlords willing to pay a few extra warp tokens for them. Now, rat ogres, we kind of touched on this a little bit, are used very widely as bodyguards just because they don't have the brains to backstab. And that is a very common staple of Skaven society. You really can't trust anyone, even storm vermin, the rather elite troops in a typical warlord clan in the Under realm, the Under Empire, I should say. They can't be trusted. There's a high chance they're going to betray you at some point and try to eat you and take your position. Not a concern with rat ogres. They don't have the brains, and they're unquestionably loyal while being formidable, strong warriors. So win-win-win. The image you're looking at right now is one of the rat ogres, which has actually been accomplished through both the Clan Scryer and Clan Moulder coming together. Scryer providing the rattling guns you see attached to the end of this rat ogre's arms, and chest, while Moulder using the biological horrid mutating, whatever you want to call it, rat ogre itself to the mix. They've actually found, when they were making this, that by attaching the heads of Skaven slaves, they could actually increase the intelligence. So that back pump right there, as well as probably pumping out steam, is also probably the head of a Skaven slave, just giving that rat ogre a little bit more intelligence. I believe they are called the Bone Rippers, as the Grayseer Thankwall rides around on one of those as his mount. Now we come to what is probably the most iconic, I think, in my mind, even more than the rat ogre, and that is the greatest creation the clan has ever created, and it towers over any other, and it is called the Hell Pit Abomination. It's basically a massive beast. It stands taller than 8 men and many, many times stronger. It's an engine of destruction and unstoppable on the battlefield, with many not even having the courage to look at this thing. It's so hideous and disgusting. It causes fear, causes enemies to run away. It is definitely the strongest creation of Clan Moulder, and I would argue the most iconic. That's gonna about do it for the lore I have for Clan Moulder. They're very interesting, although extremely gross clan at the Skaven, but super awesome at the same time. If you guys appreciated this lore overview, just leave a like and a comment below, and I'll be back with another overview of another great Skaven clan in the near future.